Hey, great morning to the mortgage and real estate world. Welcome to Terrific Tuesday morning. It is time for another edition of Coffee with Todd. We've got a rock star with us. His name is Tony Markland. You can see that he's out on his patio, and he is all the way from the Richmond, Virginia area. And we are so joyful, Tony, that you get to join us this morning. We get to join you and have a conversation.
It is an absolute pleasure, Todd. Thank you so much for having me.
No, you bet. So again, for everybody that's chiming in on any of your social platforms right now, any questions that you have, comments you want to post, just go ahead and do that under live comments. We usually go on these interviews for about 30, 35 minutes or so. And something about this interview is ringing special in my heart. And it's for a lot of reasons. I wake up every day and I love to watch positive change in people's lives. And I also wake up every day wanting to see people that trust the principles that we teach to make an impact and create loyalty with their clients, whether they be borrowers or realtors or even in a leadership position with people on your team. And last year we had a really, really special time with Tony at Sales Mastery, and we had an interview session with him in which he was talking about a real estate agent that he had done something with this agent that he had never done previously, even though they had done business together for quite a while. And that one thing that he unpacked at Sales Mastery changed the trajectory of that relationship in a way that is almost hard to get your head around. And so as we unpack this conversation, there's a lot more than just that we want to talk about. But Tony, give us just a Tony Markland update since Mastery last year, just whatever's on your heart and mind.
Well, I mean, things have been fantastic. As far as coaching goes, I've been in the coaching program for a little over 2 years now, and you never arrive. You never arrive. There's always more to learn and more to apply. And I do feel like my coach, Wayne Angelo, it was almost like, I swear it was like divine, the connection. When we first spoke, he had me do a little bit of unpacking and, hey, what's going on? And the next call, he laid it all out. And he was so absolutely right on the things I needed to change. And it was really hard to do because these habits are ingrained, especially us loan people, for the last 15 years. But I've just continued to implement. Consistency is probably one of the biggest words. I realized that when I got home from San Diego that Todd was not going to jump out of my closet and kick balls around my bedroom and have Thunderstruck playing. So, you got to continue to do the same thing every day in, day out, no matter what, COVID, no COVID, feeling good, not feeling good, it does not matter. People don't care. You have to do these things over and over and over again, and it makes a huge impact because I will tell you, I have learned one thing. Successful people do something very well, and it's what everybody else won't do. And that's the same things and the right things day in and day out.
Yeah. What a great start. We just had this national broadcast in Canada and had about 2,600 mortgage brokers and real estate agents show up. And the title of the program was the 5 irrefutable principles. Okay, 5 irrefutable, meaning they cannot be challenged, and principles, meaning this is an operating philosophy, right? Like, so one of the principles is everything can be improved. And yet, if you hear that principle and you don't understand the value of consistency behind that, then you're not going to get the kind of lift that you're otherwise going to get. And so I wrote down when we were talking before we went live that you brought up 2 words. You brought up consistency and you brought up committed. And I'd like you to unpack those. I mean, we want to give some tangible strategies to everybody that's going to be listening to this. We all know that success isn't something that happens in a day, it happens daily. But why is it in your mind that so many people don't understand the value of consistency, whether it's prospecting, whether it's team building, whether it's self-improvement? Why is that in your mind, and what has consistency done for you this year in terms of volume and production?
I mean, I think that a lot of people bluntly can't see more than the foot in front of their face. At least I know a lot of the people I work with are very short-sighted, and we're not wired to do things this way.
Yeah.
You don't have to teach people to do wrong. You're wired for it. It's the same thing with these principles, and not to mention the fact that you've been doing it this way for so many years. And we were talking earlier, it's like, even when you see positive results from the change that you're making, there's still times when you almost can talk yourself out of doing something, or you can justify anything to yourself. But the biggest thing for me, and I can't speak for everybody, but just giving examples, I sometimes people talk in broad brushes, but some of the absolutes is, when you get a contract, calling everybody, calling the other agent. I mean, that's like the dating game. Try to cold call that agent when you're not holding $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 of their income, and see what time they give you. Doing follow-up phone calls or videos every week to everybody. That's a pain in the butt, especially when so much going on. But when you have your system set up correctly and you have other people grinding gears for you, it sets aside the time that you need to do these, what we call these critical, these high value activities.
Solid, productive, yeah.
And they can't be compromised. They cannot be compromised. And what does that mean? That means you have to stay on point day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, because you go off track a little bit, and before you know it, you're veered off, and it's really tough to get back on there. But have a high trust interview with yourself. What is your why? What's important to you? Sit in the mirror. And I kind of did that, and I said, I'm going to change everything up. And I've been married for 25 years. I'm really good at taking orders and changing. You do what you got to do. So when Wayne said, Tony, you got to do this, you have to do that, I'm not questioning. I was doing great, making a lot of money, but I was miserable. And he said, these are the things you need to change, or you're going to die. And we slowly implemented. We had these big plates of stuff on, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to scoot this off, and I'm going to put that on. And then incrementally, before you know it, all this junk I was doing that was just, wasn't income producing for sure, or any connectivity, I had delegated, and now on my plate are all the things that we feel matter and that make a huge difference and have that personal emotional connection. But all that's fine and dandy, but if you don't do it every day, every week, every month, it loses its impact.
Well, it doesn't work. It's compound. It's like my buddy Jeff Strode's on right now, and he said success is consistently doing the things that aren't sexy. And it really comes down to this muscle memory of discipline. And I think that what people miss is that success doesn't happen in a day. It happens daily. It's something that we are going to consciously make a decision every day to do what is necessary to succeed. And to your point, it's not doing more of many things. It's doing more of the fewer things that really have the biggest impact. And so Deb and I were watching a series called All American. It's about a young man in Crenshaw, California that is a massively good athlete, football player, and the coach of the team said that discipline is the only ingredient necessary to unveil your destiny. And I wrote that down, and I was thinking, man, that is, if that's not a block of words that really, really resonates with me. I mean, discipline is the only ingredient necessary to unveil your destiny. And I think people need to understand that discipline is doing the same things right at level 10 over and over and over again. And pretty soon, then that becomes the habit, right?
I couldn't agree with you more. And it sounds so simple. It's just do this every day and you'll be fine. And then you can get up. This happens. This person calls. That deal falls apart. Oh my God, what are we going to do? And you just have to. That's fine. That's going to happen. I mean, this isn't some utopia that I live in this perfect lone world. I don't. I still have stuff fall apart. I still get calls at 7 to 8 o'clock at night or emails or whatever. So this isn't some big happy land that there's no problems exist. But what I tell you, I will not tolerate is not doing those things every day. I will make time for those. And if I have to work extra, I'll work extra. But those things have to be done. It's like a building block. And if you miss one block, your stability and your foundation will start to falter. And and again, it sounds so simple, but that's exactly what it is every day.
So here's the deal, guys. As you listen to this, I think that, and Tony, you can comment on this if you'd like. But I think the idea behind is, if I go back to that football show called All American, and I think about the coach and the player, right? I think about the coach's responsibility is to inspire a player to become their best version of themselves, to really have the hard conversations, have the right conversations, share the right thinking, rerun the play. And that's hard work, right? And when you come into coaching in the mortgage space, you come into high trust coaching, there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of paring and pruning that has to take place, right? And so tell us, I mean, you've been in coaching for 2 years. We all understand that consistency is the mother lode, but here's the problem. If you're trying to be consistent at something that you either A, aren't gifted at being good at, or B, you haven't developed competence around it yet, it's unnatural and it's hard to be consistent. And so part of what we do in coaching is we run the drills and we run the plays so that you can get confident in something, and that leads to a level of competence where consistency matters. And it's like Zig Ziglar's old saying that, prospecting is like taking a bath. If you don't do it every day, pretty soon you stink. I mean, whatever we're doing, whatever we're in rhythm on, that rhythm is our habit, whether it's good or bad, right? You can have a negative prospecting rhythm. I don't make calls. Or you can have a positive prospecting rhythm. I do make calls. And even right now in the middle of refinance mania, right? And everybody working remotely and all of that, there is a real need to be reminded of the consistency of realtors matter still. The local lender and local real estate agent partnerships really, really matter. You told a story last year about having a high trust interview with an agent for the first time in your relationship with this agent, which I think was years and years and years, if I'm not mistaken. That thing has gone to a whole new level. And because you've been prospecting during COVID, you used a strategy that Wayne shared with you to land a $22 million a year realtor. Unpack this for everybody. Give us the update on the gal you were talking about from stage last year, and then talk to us about how you got a $22 million a year realtor since you left San Diego last year.
Sure. With my realtor that I had, it was 12 years.
Yeah.
And we almost, I don't know, we almost didn't like each other. But like I said, we both are really good at what we do. So we helped each other make a lot of money. And who wants to be in that kind of relationship? That was one of the, when I first talked to Wayne, I was ready to say, well, look, you need to help me find a bunch of new people so I can get rid of this one. That was that frustrated. But he goes, no, we got to retrain her. And this is how you do it. And it's just, since then, it's like we're brother and sister. We hang out socially. I talk to her kids. I mean, it's insane. So that has done nothing but continue to grow in the right direction. And she's just as nice and as sweet as she can be. She's helpful. She's not messing up deals anymore. So that's been awesome on a bunch of fronts. But to go to the new agent, something Wayne said you should do. Of course, we always call the other agents, and I don't really pick and choose who I do this with. Even though I talk, you talk to somebody, you get a feel. It's like they don't really sound. I could have called them on a bad day or whatever. So I'm doing this to everybody. We're going to do this to everybody. So you were kind enough to. I got some cases of the $6,000 egg, which that might be the most thin book I've ever read. But I'm telling you, it's like that. That is my favorite book. It's so simple, but yet it's so impactful. And I FedEx these books to agents. And I'll follow up. Yeah, I got the book. Thanks. Yeah, or nothing. Text, email, nothing, whatever. I still planted the seed. You never know. But this one girl in particular, this is the first time that we worked together. She called me. She goes, "Oh my God, this is the best book. I've read it 3 times this week. I carry it everywhere I go." And I'm thinking, I'll say, this is going to be good. Let's set up a time. so I can learn more about you and your business and, that kind of thing. And she wrote me off twice, supposed to meet at Starbucks. And I was like, what's wrong here? And then there was another deal where she was on the other side. And then there was another one. And I'm like, she loves this stuff. She says we do a great job. Comes to find out she's in a BNI group and she's kind of married to this lender, where it got to the point where she told everybody, said, look, this guy on the other side here who's representing the buyers from my listing, he's communicating with me and treating me 100 times better than my lender. And basically she just said, listen, I'm going with him because that's what I want my buyers to experience, because we're like-minded. You're not even close. She hands out all the referrals in BNI. She's like, listen, get rid of me. I don't care. Y'all are going to lose all your business anyway. So either you get rid of me or I'm using Tony and you're going to leave me alone. And they left her alone. And now there's been 3 or 4 other people in the BNI group that have called me that I've done loans for. But that type, and the thing is, getting back to where I was saying, I don't even remember the day I did it, but there's been days still. Last week, I was like, you know what? I don't feel like doing these follow-up calls today. It's nice. I got to do it. I have to do it. So what if she was one that I said, you know what? I just don't, she's probably using somebody else. I'm not going to send her the book. What if she was the one that I decided not to do it? So you never know, what you're going to miss if you don't do the same things every day. If I don't make this follow-up call to this person, they probably can't buy anyway. Their credit score is not that good. Who knows? They could have a great experience. You do the loan and they have 2 or 3 friends, or you just don't know. That's why you have to commit to do the processes and the systems every day, because that's just what you do. And that way, if no rocks are left unturned, you never have to worry about what you missed. And you never know what opportunity you missed if you don't do the same stuff every day. And I know it sounds so simple, but it really is critical.
What people need to understand, Tony, to this comment is that compounding works either way. You cannot do what is necessary, and that will compound a negative discipline of avoidance, of procrastination, and all kinds, I think, of excuses. And yet you can make a decision today to turn left instead of right, and left is the new path, the right path, and you can do that every day, and it's the right thing, and it's going to compound the right way. And you and I were talking earlier about just, the habits of discipline. And I think one of the habits that gets absolutely obliterated during the times that we're in right now is continuing to deepen our relationship with partners. Cliff Theriault from Cross Country just posted that now is clearly the best time to become the lender for life with your referral partners. And why is this the best time? Well, this is the best time because most lenders, 99% of loan originators in America, do not even have their eyeball on their referral partners, which we know, any of us. Jeff Strode's on right now, a good friend of mine, been in the business a long time. We know that refis come and go and purchases last forever, right? And that's the deal. And so the disciplined originator today is going 4 months from now and realizing that, whatever happens in the November election may or may not have an impact on the economy. And, the mortgage bankers just sent out their new financial forecast for 2021, and rates are going up. So to Cliff's point, it is the right time right now to make sure those relationships are intact. So what is the discipline? Like let's go back to the agent that wanted to make enough money so that she could take care of her kids and build that house for her husband on the lake. What does a consistent Tony Markland relationship look like with this agent? And let me say one more thing before you answer, Tony, because this is where I was actually going. At Sales Mastery this year, we hired James Clear. James Clear started off about 5 years ago writing a blog on habits, and he was trying to disprove the 21-day myth. And he finally did. And he did a whole bunch of research to figure out that the bigger the habit that is necessary to create, or the bigger the negative habit, which is necessary to undo, obviously the longer it's going to take. And one of the stats that he's come up with is the biggest habits in our life. The biggest habits, our health habits, our spiritual habits, our relationship habits in our marriages and with our social circles. The biggest habits take, if you're going to make a a flip of the switch to take it from negative or neutral to positive take over 260 days. And so what we got to understand is that you can't just go out in day one with a book and change a realtor's life. It can open the door, but that same agent that responds to a FedEx and is all excited about the $6,000 egg. Scott wanted to know the name of the book. It's the $6,000 egg, and you can just go to hightrust.com and grab it. The concept is that's only the start, right? And now what you have to do is you have to nurture and you have to fertilize and you've got to you have to have conversation. You have to collaborate. That's the discipline. So unpack that a little bit for us.
Well, see that little fence, that white fence back there?
Yeah.
That's my wife's garden. She's in it all the time. It looks really, really good. You know why it looks really good?
She's in it all the time.
Because she's in it all the time. So the book is a door crack for me, because if I can get the opportunity, I know I will win them over, because we're going to provide experiences and we're going to provide the long-term value. I know that somebody at least like-minded wants. And that's the key, like-minded. But I took a lot of things away from High Trust last year, and believe it or not, one of the most, I don't know, mind-blowing one, and I kind of knew it, but when I heard her say it, and then I see it in relationships, I see it when I have a realtor that I know has a lender that does an okay job. They do an okay job. They get it done. It's a transaction. I'll tell you what they have with that realtor that I don't. That is a personal relationship. Remember Carla talking about how much greater the stock value is? You can do a good job. That's what most realtors want. Just get it closed. Just get it closed. But when you throw in a personal relationship on top of doing a phenomenal job, it's almost like you can't separate with a crowbar. So I have kind of used that concept with my agent you're talking about. We talk, we visit, we talk about a lot of stuff that's not work. We talk about family, and that's not just going through the motions, because something else we talked about earlier, people know when you're authentic. They know when you care. And they said, they know when you're out to make a buck versus make a difference. And I'm out to make a difference. I truly care about these people. I want them to be as successful as they possibly can. And I will go to hell and back to do whatever I can to help them reach their goals and objectives. And they know that.
Boom.
And I think they understand that that I'm in it for the long haul. If they need me, they've got me. The one, it's funny, the first transaction I had with the new agent, get this, was the buyer's agent with my girl. So my girl introduced me to the new girl. And guess what I had to do on that? The appraisal came up short, and the buyer had no extra money. The sellers were already in the hole. I had to give a $6,500 credit to make that deal work. Why did I have to do that? Because that's what we do to make it work. It's one transaction. Who cares? My other realtor is worth $150,000, $200,000 a year. Who cares? Easy. That's an easy decision. And she saw that. And I said, that's what I do with my partners. I take care of them. And she was like, oh my God, I've never done that. So it's what I've really focused on are developing those personal relationships, connecting on really business is business, but connecting on a personal level. And I'll give you another example. I was at Sales Mastery, and I went out there on the balcony on the hotel one morning, and I had a USDA deal. All I needed was, hey, somebody had asked me, what's left on this? Do you just need the USDA commitment to come back? I could have easily texted that to the guy, the realtor. And I said, no, I'm going to call him. Mm-hmm. And I talked to him for 20 minutes. Do you know how much we talked about the USDA deal?
Like 2
minutes. By the way, how's Joanne? What's going on? I know how to move downtown. We talked for 20 minutes. So if I'm busy doing a bunch of other junk that's not important, I'm not making that phone call. And that's the kind of stuff that makes the difference. Don't shoot a text. Don't send an email. Pick up the phone and call somebody. Connect with somebody. And I'm telling you that these things are, they sound so simple, but they're so effective and they make such an impact. But you have to be open to change and understand, when to do it and how to do it. And that's what coaching has really, really helped me with.
And I just want to say to everybody, it's interesting to have Tony bring up this word connect. One of the things I did during COVID is I just had it on my heart that I wanted to really, really go deep teaching people what connection is really all about, and so I set about, like, I don't know, last week in March, and I started writing and I started writing and I started writing, and I wrote everything I could possibly think about as it relates to the art of connection, connecting with self, connecting with family, connecting with God, connecting with clients, connecting with society. I mean, just an enormous kind of canvas that I could paint out. And as of yesterday, I have 100,000 word manuscript that is everything I can come up with on this single word called connect. And we decided to turn it into a series of videos. And so we have 16 videos that are about an hour long and playbooks for that entire thing. And to have you talk about connection, and to have you talk about communication, and to have you talk about the idea that with your agents, you're collaborating on how to be better together. I mean, that really is what connection is all about. And you said something before we went live, and I said, what would you like to share with everybody that if it were the only thing you could share, this would be what it is? And I wrote down what you said. Do you need any nudging, or do you want to go?
Well, I'll take it back to sales mastery, and it's so important that I stopped selling and I started listening, really understanding what's important to people. And you'd be amazed. I mean, we can talk about loans. It ain't about the loan. My 16-year-old can do this person's loan. Hey, Bob, what's really important to you on this transaction? And sometimes it's like, Tony, that's a dumb question. He's got an 800 credit score. He's putting 20% down. He's got $100,000 in the bank. I don't know, but I'm going to ask. It may be nothing, but I've had people go on for 10 or 15 minutes, and they ended up talking nothing about, well, what's going on is my family or my mom or my kid, we're having this issue. And before you know it, we're not talking about a loan. We're talking about life. And again, the loan is kind of secondary, really. It is, because it's easy. The loan part is really, really easy, especially with somebody like that. But taking the time to let them talk, asking open-ended questions, and getting to know them, understanding what they're about, what's important to them. You think the person they're going to call at whatever bank or whatever's going to ask them that? No, they're going to say, I got 80,000 more people to call. You're good. We'll do this. Who knows? Maybe I put them in a 20-year instead of a 30, or they don't use all the down payment. There's been a million answers to those things, and they ended up in a better spot a lot of times than when they called. So you just never know.
Yeah, and so one of the hour videos in Connect is listen. It's simply titled "Listen," and I wrote down and read, "Stop talking about loans, start talking about life." And I think there's a balancing act there. Obviously, we've got to talk about the architecture of putting the deal together. But if we're not talking about life, there's a strong chance we're not going to have the loans as a consistency of reciprocity, really. I mean, that's what high trust was birthed on. High trust was birthed on the idea that if I give you enough value, I'll never have to worry about getting enough value. And when you talk about a $22 million a year agent, you talk about agents being worth $150,000 to $200,000 a year. Again, back to this idea of how do you help people win? I mean, that's essentially what the new cry is out there, that you don't have to sell anything. You don't have to promote anything. All you have to do is connect with human beings. And you even use the two words. I think what has made the biggest difference in my life is I now have a servant's heart. You used servant's heart. Mm-hmm. How does servant's heart become an energized, emboldened kind of internal spirit, even though on the external serving is serving? I mean, how is that? How is something so soft on the outside so powerful on the inside?
I don't know. I mean, I've always said, to be in this business, I don't think you have to have a servant's heart to be successful, because there's lots of people that are spoon-fed loans and they never even talk to the bars. So, but I'm talking about to do it the way I think is the right way to do it. And again, I'm still really involved, at least with the personal side of all my borrowers. I want them to know I'm here, I care, I want what's best for them, and I show it in what I say, and more importantly, what I do. And there's just something about that. And whether it's and it goes back to the $6,000 egg. All those examples that you put in those books, all those people have servants' hearts, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have gone to that level. I want a cold beer. How cold do you want it? You know, what's my shine worth? What do you think it's worth? You know, it's like, whoa, you know, that's bold. But those people, it wasn't about the money. It was like, what do I need to do to make you really, really happy? And that's what it's all about. And again, guys, in this business, there's an ungodly amount of money you can make for what we do. It really is. But you have to let that servant's heart, it's got to shine through. And at the end of the day, I'm so much more, the biggest thing I'm concerned about is when somebody closes is, God, that was Tony and his team. They did a great job, and I know they cared. And if somebody can say that, my job is done. And if they cared, and they're going to go talk to us about all their friends, and I'm not doing it to get all the referrals. That's kind of like a result of doing a great job and them knowing you care. But if I never get a referral from somebody, they could say, Tony, you're never going to get a piece of business from me. But I know that you cared. I'm cool with that. And I know that's not the way it goes, but that's what it's all about. That is goal objective number one, is them to look back and go, that was phenomenal. They really, really cared.
Yeah. So your coach says you're having an all record year. I think so many mortgage bankers and loan reps are having, really, really good production. But, again, the caution is these will go away. Refinances are a blessing right now. You've still been able to maintain your foothold in the purchase business. What's a record year looking like for you as we kind of wrap to the end of this interview?
Well, I think I did 204 units last year, and I think I'm at like 129 or 130 right now. I think I did 44 million last year, and I'm at like 33 now. A lot of that has to do with my girl, because she sells $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 houses. Yeah. So it's really nice to get that volume, and you don't have to do a heck of a lot more work with the units, but we'll take what we can get. And the biggest thing to me is the volume is great, the numbers are great, units, whatever, but we have to continue to maintain a level of service, because the numbers mean nothing if you can't deliver it the way it needs to be delivered. So we're really good watching and putting, keeping our finger on the pulse on that. But so far, so great. I think, I end up with 30, maybe 37 this month units, which is a record here. For me, but you know what?
That's a record for a lot of people.
Yeah. And not a whole lot of refinances. I know that's going on right now. Not something I focused on. Now, we did put some feelers out, and I've done quite a few of them. But the purchase market it's where it's always been. It's where it always will be. Everybody can jump in and get what they need. That's great. But to me, it's purchase, and taking care of the agents and of course our borrowers.
Awesome. Well, you made a profound impact at Mastery last year. So profound that I have a 4-minute video clip from you that's embedded in the new Connect product, showing just the emotion you had when you were talking about what you've done with this agent. And it's super exciting to me to have had this time today to connect with you, Tony. And I appreciate you very much.
Also, too, you're not going to slip past it. Everybody knows it's Todd's birthday today, so make sure you wish him a happy birthday.
It's a great day to be alive, for sure. Everybody that's watching this live, if you haven't checked out Sales Mastery yet this year, check it out at salesmasteryevent.com. We have the most amazing lineup this year that I think we've ever created. And we're doing, obviously with COVID still here and 25% occupancy still here, we're doing a really, really good job of converting this into a kind of a combo hybrid of virtual and live and so on and so forth. So just go to salesmasteryevent.com. If you're a senior leader you need to call us in the next 10 days because we have an offer for C-suite and national heads of production on how you can actually give access to your entire company to Sales Mastery this year. And so reach out to us on social or at hightrust.com and let us know that you'd like to have a conversation. Tony, be blessed, my friend. It was a
Take care.
joy hanging with you today. And thanks everybody for chiming in on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Good to have these conversations. And I'm going to go celebrate my birthday. Thanks, guys. See ya.